Hello students, welcome to the EPG Pathshala. My name is Dr. Rajeshwari Sinha and in today's lecture we are going to learn about data presentation in biostatistics. In life sciences, huge data sets that are rapidly being generated from genome and proteome projects require to be analyzed and meaningful inferences drawn from them. In such situations, we apply various statistical tools and this constitutes the realm of biostatistics. In today's lecture, we will firstly get introduced to data and appreciate the difference between qualitative and quantitative data. We will also see how data is represented numerically as well as graphically. When we look at huge data sets of numerical figures, our minds fail to comprehend the meaning and implication of data. However, when represented graphically or pictorially, the message conveyed by the data is more crisp and comprehensible. I hope you have an enjoyable time learning these data representation tools and at the end of the lecture are able to apply them with ease on real-time data. Data. Data basically means the raw material. It may include observations or measurements or counts that has been made with respect to any particular event or characteristic. Raw data does not convey any meaningful information. It therefore has little value and cannot be used for any evaluation, assessment or decision making. Data has to be collated, processed or analyzed to be able to provide relevant and meaningful information. A variable refers to a particular character on which a set of data are recorded. Sources of data can be records, surveys, experimental or research findings. Records again can be census based, registration of vital events based, sample registration system or derived from hospital records or surveillance data. Surveys on the other hand can be comprehensive or simple. Types of data. Data can be of two broad types, quantitative data and qualitative data. Quantitative data is again discrete and continuous, while qualitative data can be nominal and ordinal. Quantitative data pertains to all types of numerical data. These data have a magnitude. They can be expressed as a number with or without the unit of measurement, and examples include height in centimeter, weight in kg, blood pressure in millimeter of mercury, etc. Qualitative data refers to descriptive or categorical data, also called descriptive or categorical data or frequency count. These have a quality but no magnitude. No measure is involved. These cannot be expressed in the form of numbers. For example, religion, blood group, marital status, etc. Types of quantitative data. Quantitative data, as we saw, is of two types, discrete and continuous. Discrete variables can take only certain fixed values and none in between. Example, number of patients admitted to a hospital in one day can be 23 or 24, but not something in between these two. Number of oxygen cylinders used in a hospital in one day, etc. Discrete data is expressed in whole number. Continuous data or continuous variables are those which can take any value in between certain limits. For example, age, hair length, body weight, hemoglobin, blood pressure, etc. It can be expressed as decimals. Types of qualitative data. Qualitative data is of two types, nominal data and ordinal data. Nominal data fits into one of the categories and can only be distinguished by their name and labels. The categories cannot be ordered one above the other. For example, color of the eyes, race, skin color, hair texture, etc. Dichotomous data is nominal data that falls into two groups such as male-female, black-white, rural-urban, etc. Ordinal data is categorical data which can be placed in meaningful order on the basis of their quality. Space or class interval between two categories may not be the same. Example, mild, moderate and severe pain, ranking in class, etc. Data collection. Data should be collected carefully and thoroughly. with units of measurement for the data clearly defined. The record should be correct, complete, clear, concise and be easy to comprehend. Collected data should be accurate, valid, precise and reliable. We hope you are finding this lecture useful. We have so far looked at different types of data, namely qualitative and quantitative data, and also looked at their various classifications. Apart from these two categorizations, data can also be classified as per geographical classification and chronological classification. In case of the geographical classification, the data are classified based on the geographical differences. For example, classification of countries, cities, districts, village, etc. For chronological classification, such data are classified on the basis of time. The data collected are also known to be time series data. For example, total food grain production since last 5 decades. We should note that there is also another type of data classification. Depending on the source, data may be either primary or secondary. Primary data are collected from primary sources and stored in a database so that it can be used by others as secondary data. For instance, the genomic sequence data generated from wet lab studies is primary with respect to the lab that originally obtained it through experimentation. But for researchers who access this data in the public domain, the data becomes secondary. Hence, this is a relative concept. Let us now move to the next section where we will be talking about data presentation in more detail. Data presentation. Data arrangement should be such that it is able to create interest in the reader. It should be presented in a compact and concise form. It should be presented in a simple form so that one is able to analyze it, infer and draw conclusion directly and easily. Data presentation should be able to help in further statistical analysis. This slide shows different ways of data presentation. There are two ways of data presentation, tabular and graphical. While graphical presentation is further segregated into quantitative and qualitative data presentation, tabular can be simple and complex tables. We will look at these different ways of data presentation in the following slides. Tabulation. Tables are the first step before the data is used for analysis or presentation. It is used to present data in a simple form. General principles of designing tables are given below. Numbering of tables. The tables should be numbered appropriately. Naming of tables. A brief self-explanatory title should be given to each table. The column and row headings of the table should be appropriately named. The data must be presented according to size or importance chronologically, alphabetically or geographically. If some data such as percentages or averages are to be compared, they should be placed as close to possible. The size of the table should be kept in mind. It should not be too large. Larger tables can be split into multiple and simpler tables. Arrangement of data in a table. Preferably data should be placed in a table in a vertical order. If need be, data can be put in horizontal form too. Footnotes in tables may be given to provide explanatory notes or additional information when necessary. Now we look at two types of tables. Simple tables where measurements of single set are presented and complex tables where measurements of multiple sets are presented. Example of simple table is given below with number of cases of various diseases in a city hospital in New Delhi in 2015. This is imaginary data. Here we see an example of complex table. It shows multiple parameters fed into one table. Number of cases of malaria in adults and children in the months of June and July in a city hospital in New Delhi in 2015. Frequency distribution table. As the name suggests, this table gives the frequency or the number of times the values are distributed across the different groups or classes with some defined characteristics. The data is first split up into convenient groups, class intervals and number of times frequency corresponding to each group is fed into adjacent columns. Some rules for constructing a frequency table. The class interval should not be too large or too small. It should have equal width, should be uniform throughout the frequency table. The open-ended classes should be avoided. Classes should be clearly defined. They should include all given values. The classes should be mutually exclusive and non-overlapping. In this slide, we look at examples of frequency distribution tables. Table 3 shows age distribution of pneumonia patients, and Table 4 shows fasting blood glucose level in diabetics during diagnosis. We should note that on the left side of the table we have a range, and on the right side of the table we have the number of values against each range or class interval. We have just had a look at one way of data presentation, namely the tabulated forms. The other part pertains to the graphical presentation of data in the form of bars and charts. We are going to look at these in detail in the upcoming section. Charts and diagrams. Charts and diagrams are used to graphically illustrate data and information. Diagrams are complementary tools to summarize data in an easier and simpler way otherwise presented in tables. They can provide information at a glance. Diagrams are better retained in memory than statistical tables. These should be appropriately labeled, have less text and be self-explanatory. These cannot be substituted for tables when mathematical calculation is required. There is also loss of details and accuracy of original data in charts and diagrams. The difference in the scale should be noted whenever charts and diagrams are compared. Different types of charts and diagrams. For graphical presentation of data, there are different ways which are used for quantitative representation of data and qualitative representation of data. For example, histogram, frequency polygon, frequency curve, line chart, scatter diagram, dot plot, stem and leaf plot, box plot, etc. are used for quantitative data, while bar chart, pictogram, pie chart, etc. are used for qualitative data. Bar diagrams. This is used to present categorical data. Different categories are indicated on one axis and frequency in each category on another axis. Data presented in the form of rectangular bar, where each bar represents one attribute or variant. Suitable scale should be indicated and should start from 0. Width of the bars should be equal. Gap between the bars should be equal throughout. Spacing between the bars is equal to half the width of each bar. The height of the bar is proportional to the frequency of the table. Bars can be vertical or horizontal, and they can be represented three-dimensionally also. Bars can be of three types: simple, multiple or compound, and component or proportional. Simple bar diagram. In this case, each observation has one value and represented by a single bar. An example is given below. Multiple bar diagram. Each observation has more than one value represented by a group of bars, also called compound bar charts or multiple bar charts. An example is given below. Component bar charts. In this component bar chart, a single bar is further divided to indicate the composition of the total divided into sections according to their relative proportion. An example is provided below. Now we look at histogram. Histograms are another way of presenting data. They are used for presenting quantitative continuous variables. It is similar to bar chart with the exception that there is no gap in between the bars. Popularly used to depict the frequency distribution in a large data series. It consists of a series of blocks without gaps in between. The class intervals are given along x-axis and frequency along y-axis. Each bar represents a class and its height represents the frequency, width implies the class interval. Gives an example of a histogram of frequency distribution of serum cholesterol levels in 200 men. While the x-axis has the class interval, the y-axis has the frequency. Frequency polygon. It is a line diagram representation of the distribution that is shown by a histogram. When the midpoints of the histogram blocks are connected by a line, a frequency polygon is obtained. Frequency polygons can be open, both ends of the polygon do not touch the x-axis, or closed, where both ends of the polygon touch the x-axis. An example of frequency polygon is shown here. We can imagine bar graphs traced along each of these interval classes or a histogram, and the center points of each bar in the histogram is connected via this line. Next, we are going to understand cumulative frequency distribution. A distribution showing the number of observations less than or equal to values on the x-axis forms the cumulative frequency distribution. It is used when there is a need to ascertain the number of observations less than or more than a desired value. In such cases, it is done by accumulating, that is, adding frequencies up to or above the desired value. This accumulated frequency is called the cumulative frequency for that value. Cumulative frequency distribution is of two types: less than cumulative frequencies or more than cumulative frequencies. In less than cumulative frequency distribution, the frequency of each class intervals are added successively from top to bottom, while in more than cumulative frequency distribution, the frequency of each class interval are added successively from bottom to top. Cumulative frequencies are used to compute other statistical parameters such as median quartiles and percentile scores. Let us see a cumulative frequency diagram now. Cumulative frequency diagram. In the cumulative frequency data diagram, the frequency of data in each category represents the sum of data from the category and the categories preceding it. An example is given below, which shows the fasting blood glucose level in diabetics at the time of diagnosis. Scatter diagram, also known as correlation diagram, it is used to depict the relationship between two variables. If the dots cluster around a straight line, it represents a linear relationship. In case of a negative correlation, if one measure increases, the other decreases. In case of a positive correlation, if one measure increases, the other also increases. If there is no such cluster of dots around the straight line, there is likely to be no relationship between the variables. This slide gives examples of linear relationship of variables in a scatter plot and no relationship of variables in a scatter plot. Line diagram, similar to scatter diagram, shows relationship between two numeric variables, but the points are joined together to form a line. Lines can be broken line or smooth. Pie diagram. This is the most common way of presenting data. The pie chart depicts the frequency distribution of a categorical data in a circle, commonly called pi. The value of each category is divided by the total values, sum of all values, and then multiplied by 360. Each category is then allocated the respective angle to present the proportion it has. Each segment in the circle is proportional in size to the frequencies in respective categories. Can also be represented three-dimensionally. Gives an example of a pie chart representation of the percentage of cases of various diseases in a city hospital in New Delhi in 2015. Dot charts. Instead of bars, a dot chart has a series of dots for each value or class interval. Each dot represents one observation. The alignment of dots can be vertical or horizontal. These charts have a high data density and can become cumbersome for large data sets. Box plots. Box plots are used for summarizing large data sample sets. It is based on the 5-number summary: minimum value, 25th percentile, 50th percentile, 75th percentile, and maximum value within a given data set. A rectangle is drawn from the lower quartile to the upper quartile, with the median dividing this box not necessarily equally. This can be seen in the topmost figure on the right hand side. Lines are drawn from the ends of the box to the extreme values. Outliers may be indicated beyond the extreme values by dots or asterisks. The plot may be aligned vertically or horizontally. Multiple box plots arranged side by side allow ready comparison of data sets. A vertical box plot is shown as an example in the figure alongside. Stem and leaf plots. This is created by John Tukey, a leading mathematician. This plot depicts individual values and frequency distribution for numerical data. The last significant digit of the data, the leaf, is identified and attached to the previous digit, which is the stem. The stem items are usually arranged in ascending or descending order vertically. A vertical line separates the stem and leaf. Total number of leaf items equals to total number of observations. These plots can become cumbersome with large data sets. We have now come to the end of this lecture. We hope you found this sharing of information relevant. In this module, we have studied about certain aspects of descriptive statistics, that is, the branch of statistics dealing with quantitative description of data via graphs, tables or summary values. Let us summarize what we have learned in this lecture today briefly. Data essentially means raw material which needs to be collated, processed or analyzed to be able to provide relevant and meaningful information. Data can be qualitative and quantitative. Quantitative data can be discrete and continuous, while qualitative data can be nominal or ordinal. Data presentation can be tabular and graphical. We have essentially covered the tabular and graphical description techniques in detail and the possible applications for each. Hope you had a good time learning about the different visual representation tools for data. Thank you for watching this lecture on presentation of data in biostatistics.